so I'm sitting next to this huge butterfly bush. It is called a Pink Cascade, I think, and it's very easy to deadhead. It's definitely a good idea to deadhead because butterfly bush can be invasive in certain areas, and this is how I do it. This one is about 5 or 4 feet tall and 3 or 4 feet wide. You can see it has a very strong base at this point. I think it's about 3 or 4 years old. Here are some violets growing under it. Basically, you just cut off the spent blooms as soon as you come to blooms that haven't flowered yet. So I'm going to cut right here. And that leaves these 2 flower spikes that haven't blossomed yet. You can see all the little flowers that are going to pop open soon. What happens often with this plant is that we get some that like lay on the grass, and it's okay just to cut it off completely, you know, where it starts. You don't have to do this, but if you want to, you can. Here are some flowers that are just starting to blossom. And then this one's spent. You can't really tell. This one's gonna bloom, but there are so many up here that I don't mind cutting this off. So I'm just following this stem down to the base. And then same with this stem all the way down to where it meets the main part of the plant. While you're at it, you might as well clean up any weeds or leaves laying around, just to spruce things up. You don't have to, they'll act like mulch if you leave them. Here I have a branch that's encroaching on the catmint that's growing right here, so I'm just going to get rid of it because it just crowds things. Down here the grass is kind of growing into the flower bed. I just rip it off. I did dig a trench here and put mulch in there, but it can only last so long before the grass decides to make a run for it into the flower bed. So this is how I maintain it. It's not perfect, but it's all I have the energy for right now. So that's what it looks like down there, and now I can just have a deadheading party over here because there are a lot of spent flower spikes, which have had many visitors. How beautiful are these flowers? They're pink with yellowish orange throats. And then above it is a spent one. Not so pretty anymore. So I'll just meet it where it meets the plant. Right here. And cut. Here's a little collection of flowers that haven't bloomed yet, so we'll leave that to do its thing. When they're partially spent like this, I just leave them be so that the bees and the butterflies have something to munch on. Here's a close-up of some seed pods that are starting to form. Here's the tip of a stem where there's a new bud forming. Might just be a leaf bud, but there are some flower buds right in here. If you see one where there are multiple flower spikes that have already flowered, you can just follow the stem and cut all 3 of them off at once, or however many there are. Here's one that has 2 spikes that haven't flowered yet and one that's flowered, so I just want to get rid of the one. And that leaves these 2 to flower. This one's spent, and this one's spent. Oops. You'll notice if you have a branch that kind of weep or lay lower, that if you cut off the flowers, it lifts. So say it's like overhanging over some flowers and it's bothering you. Instead of cutting the whole branch all the way at the bottom, you can just cut off the ones that are spent and see if that helps before you make any big decisions. And sacrifices. See how that branch is already higher and perkier? These are not the best shears for this, but I misplaced my other ones. See, it's already higher up. Here's one that's browning. I hear a hummingbird. I don't know if I'll be able to catch it. Oh my god, there it is. It was literally a foot from my face just now. Okay. I think I'm going to take this whole thing down. I hope I was able to catch him. Some people demonize butterfly bushes because they don't provide food for caterpillars if butterflies were to lay eggs. Because they don't provide food for butterflies if they happen to lay eggs, for the caterpillars anyway. But it still provides a lot of food for all kinds of pollinators, bees, hummingbirds. I've seen swallowtail butterflies, and I've seen hummingbird moths and monarchs and other butterflies and other insects. So they're definitely a good plant to have in your flower garden or your butterfly garden. Just make sure you have other things that the butterflies can lay their eggs on and then the caterpillars can actually consume. And there it is. I think I got pretty much everything. It still has a bunch of flowers, a bunch of buds, leaf buds, all over the place. And what you're left with is this huge bouquet and some despair of spent flower spikes from this awesome plant that has given so many foragers just a buffet of delicious food throughout all of the growing season. And it's hardy in our zone 6A, and it will come back every single year, and all you have to do is prune it down in the spring. So once the winter comes, you're just going to leave it, and you're going to wait until you see growth down here. That's basically what you're going to see, even larger leaves toward the bottom of the plant, and you're just going to cut. Here we have some more. You're just going to cut right above any growth that you see happening in the beginning of spring. Until then, just let it be. And you don't have to worry about it self-seeding because you're going to cut off all the spent blooms.